Some people say this would break the lore of Starfield. Nah, it'll be fine. It'll fit right in there. Fit right in. Alright guys, Red here. Welcome to Red's Resort. You know the drill by now, we scour the internet looking for mod ideas that are either already in development or just the hopes and dreams of some random space nerd on Reddit, and we smoosh them all into a big fat ball of Starfield goodness and roll it into the video for your immediate viewing pleasure. Before we start off this week, I'd like to say a big thank you to Laura Spence and Nils Gerdes for becoming channel and Patreon members, and a big thank you to all of you for your continued support over the last year. Watching, liking, discussing, subscribing, thank you all so much, and it's very, very much appreciated. First off this week, we have actual work in progress on a weapon system that somebody has started working on. Now, they didn't say whether this would eventually end up being in the game, or whether they were just having a practice around in preparation for the game's release. But either way, their intent is to get involved in making some mods for Starfield, so I thought I'd show this part of their hard work, and I hope it encourages them to keep at it. It is really, really cool, and hopefully they will at some point play an active role in the modding community. This user's name is Don't Shiver for Power, so if you're ever on the r/Starfield mods Reddit, defo hit up this post and show them some love. Next, we had a user wondering that if vehicles turn out to be too hard to implement, instead of having a fast travel back to the ship, would it be possible to make a mod that called your ship to your location, and it would land on the closest available space? Now, I really like this idea, as the fast travel system in Bethesda games, although very useful, do tend to break the immersion a bit, and this would be a very cool way around that. Let me know what you think though. I get the feeling it may be more complicated than it seems, but it would be very convenient. Next up, someone in the comments from last week's vid was asking for a VR mod. Now, this has been officially supported in the past, with both Skyrim and Fallout VR versions getting official releases, so this is actually a really good question. My guess would be it should be possible. The only restraint might be performance maybe. If the game comes out and it doesn't run as well as we'd hoped, then maybe it wouldn't be worth the effort until a few years down the road, but who knows? I'd definitely be up for some of that, whether that's supported officially or otherwise. There was someone looking for possible collaborators for a Star Trek themed mod. They were looking to get help with starting the process of making Trek styled uniforms and clothing, maybe shield belts and spacesuits, all the phaser weapons, and perhaps even looking at adding some sort of scanning equipment as well. Maybe even some alien races and ships and shuttlecraft, that sort of thing. And I think this would be a really, really nice fit. Even if you think of the work that would have to be done just to get the nice Trek style computer interfaces and stuff on everything. If they pull this off, I bet it could end up being the best Trek game ever made, to be honest. Really gonna be one to keep your eye on. Next up was another pretty ambitious project. Someone was putting together a team of writers, developers, artists and modders in general to make a massive sci-fi prison mod in Starfield. Taking in a lot of sci-fi stuff as a source, but the infamous Butcher's Bay from Riddick was mentioned as a possible primary point of inspiration. This sounds absolutely awesome, and I bet you it would be a really good challenge, and a good enough starting concept to engage the creative juices of the modding team that hopefully signs up. There's a Discord already set up to accommodate this one, so if you're interested, definitely head over to r/Starfield's mods Reddit and filter everything by top posts of all time to find any of the mod conversations that I've covered in all of these videos. And now, we really need to talk about AI. Unless your head's been buried recently, you will no doubt have noticed the proliferation of some mods being added to games that are plugged into OpenAI. This has created the most amazing results of NPCs in games having real back and forth conversations. So therefore, it was inevitable that it would eventually be asked if it was on the cards for Starfield. Now, although that answer remains unclear, one user was asking about the Herkia AI mods and it being ported over. So when I looked into this mod, I was absolutely blown away. I don't have Skyrim installed and I didn't want to go stealing anyone's footage, so you'll just have to try and take these images and imagine what's going on. But apparently a Herkia is a companion mod, but she's like really, really clever. She knows what's around you and what's going on, what's in the inventory, what missions you have open. She can track targets and make plans. She can also like summarize books, and it's all tied into the ChatGPT style back and forward, so it almost comes off as, you know, kinda close to like a co-op in some way. And she can make jokes that are relevant to the situation, etc. Absolutely fascinating stuff. And I get the feeling that once Starfield gets some sort of script extender enabled, it will be absolutely rammed full with AI NPCs everywhere you go. Which would actually be, you know, kind of suitable. Next up, we had someone looking for a Doctor Who mod. A good old Doctor Who mod. With all that implies. Outfits, gizmos, companions and enemies. And obviously, a TARDIS. I mean, wouldn't be a Doctor Who mod without a TARDIS. And it would be pretty cool to see if somebody could get the inner dimensions of the TARDIS be bigger than the outer dimensions. Anyway, a Conquer the Galaxy mod. Now, this is a really good idea. Basically, the idea is to have a planet in each system you can designate a command centre that you can then use to churn out fleets and set up an AI government and attack other command centres for control, and have a big, massive AI controlled space battles, etc. And this sounds freaking amazing, and I do like the idea of what was in previous games where there was, you know, outposts you could claim and defend, and then move resources between and expand to other areas. And I can see and hope that something like that happens, even if it's on a bit more of a restricted scale than was implied in the mod request. And they do go on to say that if an AI is attacking your territory, you have a certain amount of time to get in there and join in the battle, like in Fallout 4. And it would actually be a really nice little background game within the game sort of thing. Be a ruler of your local galaxy. Love it. Totally love it. Next up, somebody wants Metroid business integrated, obviously. I'm down for that, especially if you can turn into a little sphere and roll around in events and stuff. Then we would also need Mass Effect companions. This should just be a given, to be honest. I'm surprised the game didn't just come shipped with these already installed. And there was one more interesting mod that caught my eye. It's not as shiny as Buzz Lightyear's costume, but it may help with the initial modding phase of the game. The user Linux version says they've come up with a dead simple DLL plugin system that injects IMGUI into Starfield to allow for native code shenanigans on hopefully day one. Now, I'm not entirely sure what the limitations will be here, but that does sound very promising indeed. Please let me know if you can offer any insight that may help to plug the holes in my ignorance here by telling me exactly what that means. Now, before I go, I've saved the best for last, but I'd just like to say thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe if you found this helpful in any way. Probably not, but I've got your 5 minutes now and you're not getting them back, so also remember there's membership stuff. If you fancy leaving a tip, don't be shy, and if you ever fancied a blast of Star Citizen, then use my code in the description and I'll send you 100k of in-game space bucks to get you started when you buy a package. And I'm sure there was something else. Oh yeah, the last mod, for when you absolutely, positively have to surgically dismember every motherfucker in the room. See you in the black, guys. 07.